The PCE report is in. Bitcoin has us biting our nails. Tesla over $200. And then finally, Nvidia having us nervous. I'll show you exactly why in this video. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. And if you see something that is orange and sounds like a parrot, it's probably a carrot. All right, we're going to start off by looking at the PCE report and talking about that. Then we'll get right into the technical analysis on the markets. And then, like I said, Bitcoin, Tesla, Nvidia, and then I also have a few other stocks to toss in between, and then a bonus at the end for you. So make sure that you stick around for that. Moving over into trading economics so they can see the numbers that we have. The core PCE popping up here for us. 0.1% after a previous and also revised 0.3%. So month over month numbers. Excellent. Market absolutely loved it. I'll show you with the heat map on that one that you'll see just how much the market loved that one. And then personal income month over month, 0.5. Excellent, because that means that people are making more money, something that's not great. And for some of the stocks that are out there, such as consumer staples, would be that the personal spending 0.2%, up from the revised 0.1%, but down from the consensus and the forecast. So excellent numbers here. PCE, the overall month over month, 0%. And then for what we have for core and overall for PCE, 2.6%, down below what it was the previous month. These are all excellent numbers. And we go to the CME Fed Watch tool for this. We're looking at December right now, 2024. And you can see, let me hit the refresh button here. So we have the most up-to-date numbers as of the recording of this video. And click on December again. There we go. You can see that we actually have the numbers have come down from 6.7% down to 4.5%, that we stay at our current rate. So everything got smushed down, 30% down to 27, 43, up to 45. That's for 2 rate cuts from where we're at right now for December. So we're increasing that likelihood with those PCE numbers that came out as of 8:30 this morning. So moving on from there, we're going to get into the charts just to see how these sort of numbers were received and what we're getting in the markets today. So let me put this up here. This is a heat map of the ETFs, from throughout the market. And you can see, take a look at all that green that we have out there. And then in red, we have real estate down just a little bit for us. And then we also have consumer staples, which is one of the two that we have in here that are also down a little bit. So little pockets of red amongst just a sea of green that we're looking at. So when we move over into the SPY, looks like we're up just a little bit. Really what we want to see here, if we're going to continue higher for the markets, is overcoming this previous peak. If we turn around before overtaking that top, that's a lower high, and it could give us another lower low coming in. So we want to be watchful for that. When we look at the Qs, it's going to be the same story that we had for SPY. Now the Qs were able to pop up over this before quickly selling off, and now we're butting back up against resistance. Again, we still want to take on that previous high that we saw there. IWM, which tracks the Russell 2000, this one absolutely loved the PCE numbers that we had coming out. And so we look at the PCE numbers and their impact that we have here. Let's go down to the minute chart so we can see 8:30 and what that looked like for us. There we go. And if we go to 8:30, that would be all the way back. There we go. 8:33 is that big old green candle that you see right there, where my cursor's at right now. And well received for us. Popped up, sold off a little bit, but still up over 200. That's a good thing for IWM. Now, Bitcoin, which I said had us biting our nails. Look at this on the weekly chart. We are right down. Actually, let me go here because this is the RSI that we're looking at. I'm going to have to move that one, and then I'm going to have to move this one because of the way it works. There we go. This RSI that we have right here, this is bullish territory, but not overbought like we saw with the green back here. And staying up above 50 is going to be absolutely critical for the RSI on the weekly chart. So this is a longer term trend for Bitcoin, not necessarily the immediate happenings of what's going to go on with Bitcoin. And you can see the volumes tapering off a little bit for us. So to look at this, you can see I have this marked up a little bit with different areas where we have historic support right around $60,000 and evidence of buying pressure. Now, mind you, we can move these arrows around a little bit. There's more evidence. There's more evidence over here that we keep on having buying coming in. And we see that with these long wicks that we have all throughout here. So these are arrows from an earlier markup, and they just do keep on continuing. Now, if we go down to the daily chart to see what Bitcoin's doing today, let's stretch that out a little bit. You can see that we are getting these high wicks coming off here. It's possible that we get downward pressure. We're off the oversold territory here, but we're still in bearish territory. And we want to be watching. There's a specific trend line I want to draw on here really quick. so that we can see what I'm watching for Bitcoin. We need to make it up over this trend line right here. And you can see every time that we come up to this level that we keep on getting high wicks and getting rejected and pushed back down. So we need 60,000 to hold. This is about 60,200 that I have on here for you, but we'll just call it 60,000. That's going to be close enough for our purposes that we have. We do have the 200-day support down here. That's this thin yellow line that you see. We almost came down to it before, and we didn't quite get there. So that 200 is where we're also looking for support to come in and keep holding for us. Like I said, we need to break this trend line right here in the near term to continue moving upward for Bitcoin. We'll see if we keep on with that risk-on stock scenario, or a risk-on scenario for investment. So moving on to end phase, still operating with this channel, has not broken out of it yet. And this one, I was a little bit surprised with the PCE, maybe because what some of the data that we got was that for consumer goods, that we weren't necessarily seeing a lot of strength there. And also for the durable goods orders that were out earlier this week, not necessarily all that good. Actually, a little bit of contraction when you take out defense. So that's something that, maybe that's why we see a little bit of weakness here. Now, mind you, it could be putting in the finishing touches on this quarter for Q2, and then possibly Q3 we start to see that ramp up. We're going to have to watch and see for if we stay in this channel and this is a bottom, or if we break down through the bottom of it and that we're searching for a new bottom off of that. Honestly, being a long-term investor for end phase, this is one that I think that we could possibly sell off down below that. Actually, I should say that I hope that we sell off down below that so I can get some cheaper stocks worked in here, and also bring in some either selling of some put options to take advantage of a lower cost basis, or it could be one of those areas where I can continue dollar cost average and bring my cost basis down that way as well. And so for end phase, that's what I'm watching for. If you look at TAN, T-A-N, the solar ETF, you'll see that's also trading in a range right now. We're at about the bottom of that range. So we want to see if that bottom holds, and if we do start to move back upwards on that. All right, so now the tantalizing view of Tesla back up over $200. Hasn't happened since the end of March. So the last time that we were up over $200, there we go. Let me put my candle right there. March 1st of 2024. That's this year, several months ago, about 3 months ago, 3 to 4 months ago, actually, considering it's March 1st, and it's almost July 1st. That was the last time that we saw this thing up over $200 per share. And recently tickling about 202. The high price on this, let's see what it was, 202.85, so almost 203. Watch, let me collapse that for you so that you can really hone in on this 200-day, which is this yellow line right here. That's really where I think that you should draw your focus, because I think that's where we get the next significant resistance coming in, and that's at about 206. We might not make it there exactly, but expect there to be a smackdown happening unless something happens that's highly positive with deliveries on July the 2nd. We're going to have to watch and see for that. If you watch my video from yesterday where I talk about the performance of the NASDAQ 100 and the performance of the S&P 500 during the first 2 weeks of July, it is historically a bullish time for the markets. Tesla could possibly move right along with it. So we'll see if we have that rising tide coming in to raise all the ships, and then Tesla moving right along with that. So 206, watch for that. Watch for a rejection off that 200-day. And should we go back and retest, that's also a very bullish thing. Now let me reset the view. If we are able to break that, we have room up to like 220 to 230. So we'll call it 225 and go right in the middle. Then we can come up and test out the top of this consolidation pattern that is just years long for Tesla. I showed this before. This is the monthly view that we're looking at, and it's just a beautiful and well-obeyed technical that we're looking at here to see the tops consolidating, bottoms consolidating. You can see the monthly RSI just dancing right around that 50, looking for direction that we don't necessarily have the market's a solid direction endorsement yet. Now, mind you, Tesla's too young on this to have a 200-month showing up, so we're going to have to look at the 50-month that's here. We're still below that, so still bearish by those terms. If we're able to break to the top side of this, the sky is the limit on Tesla's stock price. Expect a strong rejection to come in should we make it up to that $230-ish dollars per share. Now, mind you, as the months go on, that value does come down. So as we test this top trend line, expect a big rejection to possibly come out, especially as we get near that 50 SMA that's in blue on here on the chart. All right, now the nail biting for Nvidia. Now, mind you, since the market is open right now as I'm recording this video, a little bit less nail biting. I talked about this 20-day right here, the simple moving average from the Bollinger Bands. We want to watch for that for support. We sold down below it, and then we ended up retaking it on the 25th, and then above it, couldn't press down below it, still above it. So right now we're still looking that we're moving in a bullish direction for NVIDIA. On the daily chart, the RSI, by the way, still in bullish momentum territory that we came down, tagged 50, and then moved back above it. So still looking all right. If we are going to see continued upward movement, we need to hold on to that 20-day, and then we're going to be looking to see if we take on that most recent high that we had, that, let me see what during the regular market hours, 140.76. So around $140 per share. We're going to be looking to see if we're going to consolidate for a while, which I think is highly likely. I don't know that we put in a new all-time high for NVIDIA. We're going to have to watch and see what the market does, what NVIDIA does, because remember, what happens with the markets is going to affect all the stocks trading multiples. NVIDIA is not going to be immune to that. So keep an eye on this one. Holding on to that 20-day is the thing that we're going to be watchful for. If we break down below it, now here's the part you want to be a little bit nervous about, just in case we don't push higher from here, is that if we drop instead, that could set us up for a head and shoulders pattern on NVIDIA, and our neckline for that is going to be right at about 117 to 118 is what we're going to watch for. So if we're unable to continue to push higher with NVIDIA stock price, especially if we peaked out back on Wednesday the 26th, and today is giving a run for its money. So we'll see. We want to keep on watching this. We'll see what it does today. If we sell off instead, if we push down lower, we want to watch to see for that breakdown below 117.50, we'll call it, right in between 117 and 118. If we are able to break down below that neckline, get a full candle close, that could push us all the way down to the low 100s, between 100 and 110. The 50-day simple moving average, by the way, is rocking in here at about 105. So that's a price that we want to be watchful for here. And getting down below $100 per share is actually something I'm very hopeful for. Again, being a long-term investor in NVIDIA and also bullish on NVIDIA, I want to see those cheaper prices come in, so that way we can get some more buying opportunities coming to us and really continue to flesh out our portfolios and have further strength coming to it. All right, I told you about the bonus. SoFi. SoFi is fighting to hang on here. We're almost, if you follow stock mode on the bread recipe, we almost have the EMA cross between the 5 and the 13. The RSI not quite to 50 yet. That bullish move could be coming. We're getting a lot of low wicks here showing buying pressure for NVIDIA. And during this recording, we can see that the market is pushing up at that price that we have for SoFi. I think I just called it NVIDIA. I meant SoFi. We can see these low wicks that we have, long bottom wicks for SoFi. And like I said, we just keep on pushing up. The 20-day for this is at about 670. So we got to be watchful for that because that could be an area of resistance for us. Even more so, that $7 mark could be that next spot that we really find that. We'll see if we get a run up to earnings on this. If we actually push down to earnings, the more we push down leading up to earnings, the more bullish I become on SoFi. Those earnings, by the way, are at the end of July. So we're about a month out yet from when those earnings take place. We are in a descending wedge pattern for SoFi. Not quite ready to push up on this. You can see the RSI mostly spends its time under 50, going all the way back to, let me see, we had a nice bullish period at the end of last year, and it's been pretty much bearish with a few peekaboos in between the rest of the time throughout the entire year for 2024. And I think that what we got from the PCE report today really does help us out a little bit for SoFi stock, that we could start to see a little bit of easier lending coming sooner, not necessarily right now, but that could be something that really helps us out for SoFi stock. We're going to be watching for that one, and I do think that we have a big bullish movement coming for us sometime in between now and possibly up to and maybe just after earnings. So we have about a month to really watch this, and we want to see if we get that 5 and 13 cross here, and if so, we want to see us push on up to about that $7 mark. And then we'll probably hit some form of rejection off the 50s or off the trend line that we have here coming down this way. All right, so to wrap this thing up, PCE report today, it was awesome. The ETF action that we saw reflects that. The markets reflect that. Tesla having a grand old time. Having that close today above 200 is going to be really important for continued upward movement. Circling back to end phase, they're at the bottom of their range right now. We want to watch and see that support holds. If it does, that could be incredibly bullish and it give us some nice upside to set up a nice swing trade opportunity for solar stocks such as end phase. Like I said, you can also check out the TAN ETF, TAN, like a suntan. And then NVIDIA, watch that 20-day for NVIDIA. SoFi, watch for the EMA cross, watch for the cross above 50 on the daily RSI. That's going to be something to also signal something to us. And then we got to watch those resistances that are out there as well. If If you guys like my commentary, want to hear more of it, see what I'm buying and selling, check out the link for the Patreon down in the description. Come on over, sign up for the Discord, and then once you're in the Discord, which is available through the Patreon, you can see my buys and sells. You can talk to me and my community members. We'd absolutely love to have you over there. If you want to learn to do technical analysis like I do, there's also a link down in the description for a technical analysis course. Click that, sign up. There's lots of very easy to digest information over there, lots of videos as well, and I even have a chapter in that as well on options that you can go and you can check that out. Thank you guys very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I am Dr. Stock, Doctor of Education. Remember, my friends, that learning is earning, and we'll see you in the next video.